Hello there. This is Bill. I'm gonna do a little tour of the ye old barn. This thing was built. I can't figure out when it was built. Got the appropriate hat on today. I'm gonna do a little tour of the hayloft, of the old late 1800s, early 1900s timber frame barn. I can't figure out exactly the date, but I guess the deed on the property is, my dad claims it's 1865, but I haven't seen no proof of that yet. And I can't seem to find any ooh, little baby spiders are coming out. Any proof. Get off there. Anyway, I'm going to go up into the hayloft here and check out some of the old joinery, some of the, can't see what I'm seeing behind me. Anyway, the joinery, what's failing. I want to fix this up. I think it may be cheaper than building a pole shed. I don't know, it's kind of turning into a headache. Just thinking about it. What I really need, I guess, is a structural engineer to really do it safely. Although I just noticed a few of the failing post areas. I don't think there's even much weight on them. So, throw it on do or whatever. Let's go in. Alright. This is, bottom is just used for storage here. This is just some, it's only a footing of like probably 1 to 2 feet. 2.5, 3, I don't know at some points, but just an area boxed in enough out of the elements. I store stuff in here. Alright. One of the oddities of this building, I cannot find a staircase or any area where there ever was a staircase. This hole I cut in like 10 years ago. This was, oh, I don't know why. I put a fire pole in. Kinda, don't ask questions. Anyways, the frame of this building is, let's see, I should have decent lighting up here today. What does this look like? I think it's beautiful. This building has had nearly zero maintenance on it. My parents moved in. I think. Let me hold on here. Someone outside I seen. What do they want now? I'm trying to make a video. Alright, I'm back now. Where was I? I think I was talking about the joints. I don't know. Ooh, it's warm up here today. This is probably 14th of May in Minnesota, and it's finally over 70 degrees. This has been one bad, nasty spring. Alright, I'm going to go along some of these joints and kind of document, I guess, what timber framing is considered is joints or logs that are greater than 5 inches by 5 inches from the research I've done. These that make up this barn, the main structure, seem to be 8 by 8s. And so this is probably built 1870s, 1880s, 1890s. Who knows? Somehow it is standing. It probably should not be, but I guess that's one thing timber frame buildings do. They kind of defy the defy physics, I guess you could say, because a few parts will fail on the building and they still stand somehow. I think I still got pigeons living up here, although none flew out this time. It looks like something killed them. There's a bunch of feathers in here. I bet you a hawk got in. Okay. It's really neat how they got this giant corner bracing, all the corners. My dad, I guess, he started trying to straighten the building up. He put this braided wire. Said he did straighten it up a little bit. Just got to pull it a little tiny bits every week, I guess. Got to take it really slow, I guess, for the wood to go back to where it used to be. Let's see, this is probably the worst corner up here. Can you see the dip in the floor? I think that's probably due to the ceiling leaking in that area. The roof has tin on it, but you can see it has, I think they call them shake shingles, wooden shingles basically. I think that was a big thing they used in the 1800s. You can see some spots, well, quite a few of them, they're missing. So probably went a few years before it even had. Why is my compressor on now? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna ignore it. This wall is kind of straight across this tie beam, I believe they call it, all the way across. That post right there is falling off a foundation. This thing doesn't have a foundation. It was built on basically field stones, big rocks, boulders. And that there is a dip in it. That side on the bottom, from that corner, basically the whole side to bottom, I made a makeshift foundation 10 or 12 years ago. So that really hasn't gotten any worse, I don't think. Downstairs looks pretty straight. That's the funny thing. Okay, some of these mortise and tenon joints, these 90-degree cross bracing, look, they're slipping out. I can move that baby. And the interesting thing about these timber frame is there is no nails holding the big stuff together. It's all these wooden pegs and dowels. This one's loose too. So it's like they sheared off, but I don't see no remnants in this one. So it's almost like I wonder if my dad years ago punched them out so he could try and straighten some of this. I don't know. Oh, the size of the building, good to know. It's 40 by 40, basically a big square, so maybe that's part of what's helping it stand. There's an old hay rack up there, I guess, or hay jabber, whatever they're called. They did have a little electricity in here. It's old black wiring. I don't know, it's like logs on the roof. It's not timbers. The floor is kind of a weak part of it, I think, or where they went cheap when they built it. Seems like it's just 2 by 8s, which from the research I've done, a lot of the timber frame, the floor trusses they're small beams too, but like 2 or 3 feet apart. This corner where I'm standing at is kind of a weird portion. I don't know if they used it for a milk house, because this corner has a cement floor, only part that basically had cement in it, which obviously was added years later or something. And then the floor joists, they are not the 2 by 8s like in the rest of it. They look like these guys, which my dad called them something, but whatever they are, they're nice and straight. And I would say they're cedar or something, but they're like the same size all the way up, which is probably another good 40 feet. It's kind of amazing that these beams are 40 feet long, because there's no big trees really left around here. I can't figure out what they are. There's some bark left on some of it, but from the trees I've cut down, I don't know. That almost looks like some type of a cedar to me, but I don't think cedar is traditional on timber frame. I guess you can use any kind of wood, but yeah, these are all hand-hewn timbers, which, boy, that's a lot of work. I have a book on it and I've been reading about it. This part has some damage. There was the overhang on the roof tin was gone. I fashioned a piece up there years ago, so it's not water running down it no more, but there's a old silo that used to be there. I guess it used to be a wooden silo, which you don't hardly ever see wooden silos anywhere. Isn't my camera work just ungodly? And there's a few cracks in the frame, like up here. I wonder if that's from shear stress. I don't know, maybe it's normal from just years of drying out. Let's see, what else was I gonna go over? Oh, these tie beams. That's what these guys are called, I guess. They run all the way across too. And the type of, there's like 3 different ways these were built, I guess. I think this one would be considered square rule layout, because they're kind of really custom fit joints. I believe that is characteristic of square rule layout. There's some better spots that signify that. Let me just keep walking, and looks like they used to use that as ladders, probably when stacking hay. That's a big door right there, actually. That'd be cool to let that down. big old braces. Let's see. There's some more joinery. Gosh, dang pigeons. Although I don't think that's the only piece of conduit in the whole building, I think. That'd be cool to get that working again. Let's see, I don't want to drag this out too long. Oh, I have shoveled so much hay out of here. I guess when my parents got the place back in the late 70s or so, this was just packed full of hay. My dad said that was one of the things helping hold it together, keeping it upright. I wonder if that door was put in later on. Maybe not. I don't know. So many different ways to customize these, I guess. I'll take a look at it from that end. I think the lighting is better. Ugh. My idea is to turn this into a workshop. I really need to build something. Put all my tractors and tools in, my lawn tractors, and just a bigger space. This is like 40 by 40. Plus you got the loft up here, plus you could make even another level right there that's got plenty of height to it. My little workshop now, if you watched any of the other videos, that's only roughly 10 by 10, and it's sick how I lose tools in there because there's just so much stuff. Yeah, my dad had a few cables, but most of them have come undone. They've just given out, I guess, and somehow this thing is still standing. Maybe it won't be standing much longer, but I gotta get something done. I gotta hire someone. I want to do it right, safe. I don't want to kill myself doing it. I think that's another indication that square rule layout, kind of custom cut, that hand hewn. This one's pretty smooth. A couple of the other ones are really jagged. Obviously they had a couple different people working on it probably when it was made. Smells just like an old house up in here. Grandma's old house. Oh, look at that. Where'd that one go? Oh, I do feel something. Why isn't it? Oh, it's in that side. Must have just been a little bit shorter peg. An interesting thing about, see, almost all these, that one's loose too. Although this one has the peg in it yet. Yep, still there. I think my dad added a couple extra bracings, probably for security at the time. So yeah, he didn't take that one out. I don't feel it in there. That's weird. I wonder if bugs. I would think they would use like an oak or something hardwood for the pegs, but maybe not. Interesting thing I'm getting at. This cross brace, this one loose too? Yep, totally loose, but they're all fully fashioned on the bottom of the 45s here. Look at this one. See, there's the outside, the peg hole. See that? Do you see that? Oh, look at this. The hole is right here. There is no tenon hole. It's like they forgot to drill one out. So that's kind of funny. I get a kick out of that. That guy must have been hung over from the weekend, or was built on Friday, and I don't know. Let's take a look out. Yeah, I'm surprised this is still holding me on this corner. It's so saggy. Ooh, it's nice and bright out today. But like I said, a lot of the sag in the floor is, I think, the engineered 2x6s. I mean, they're actual 2x6s or 2x8s. They're not like the 1.5 thinner lumber like nowadays. Oh, another thing I don't know how this can be level. I got a level sitting up there. Do you see it? That's amazing. The bubbles in the middle. Of course, they're not all like that, but a couple of those big tie beams are level. I don't know how. Anyway, let's go up here and look out the back. Oh, there is a rotten board here, which I cleaned out. Had a bunch of pigeon nest. I don't think I could even replace this one. I'd have to do it in 2 pieces and make a scarf joint. That's also a neat thing about all this. The big timbers, none of them have scarf joints on them, like what I've read about. So it's like I'd have to do that one in 2 pieces, or I suppose I could just cut a portion out and then wood glue a chunk in. That would probably work too. Let's see if we can get some more shots. Hope I'm not making this too boring. This is an actual ladder that's probably always been here. Almost looks like a little bit churchy. This tie beam looks good up here. Thank God, that's the one that runs all the way across. Okay. Don't fall, don't fall. There's still a couple holes up here. I cannot. I do have makeshift scaffolding, but it's getting too dangerous, too high. I mean, you're up 3 stories. That's. I just gotta buy some scaffolding, which sucks because that stuff runs like $800-900 for just a decent 2-3 story piece, but probably be a lot safer. You know, if I did put another floor up here, yeah, there's plenty of room. Look at all the room to store stuff. Even those guys. Another 40-footer. It's amazing how straight the ceiling seems. Oh, there went my tape measure. Despite. So even though that main beam there, that's barely touching the ground anymore. And the one straight across, those are probably the 2 most sagging beams. I suppose it wouldn't make as big of a deal because there's 1, 2, 4, 8. There's 16 big beams, so I guess the other guys would just take up the slack fairly easy, but it's amazing. I mean, how that can still be straight. I don't know.